I am Zach, and I like to ride motorcycles. And I've decided to start this channel because I noticed in the moto vlogging world that there's not a whole lot um, of spiritual Christian moto vloggers. There's a few. Bikes and Beards comes to mind. Great channel. Should definitely check them out. Um, but my kind of goal with this is to, talk about my faith while I ride. It's two things that I love. I think that you can get a lot of enjoyment out of both of those things. While motorcycling gives us a sense of freedom on the road and a sense of adventure, none of that would be possible without God. I'm not really sure what's going on here. I'm gonna zip around this. This seems a little ridiculous. But the goal with this channel here is to really give myself the ability to talk about different, concepts and ideas within Christianity. I don't want to just get on the bike and start reciting from the New Testament. I do kind of want to just explore maybe some concepts that don't necessarily get talked a lot about, um, especially in the non-denominational circles that I tend to roll in. In these circles, it's all very cut and dry. Go to church on Sunday, go home. But I kind of want to dive deeper. I think a lot of people, especially young people, in their early to mid 20s, maybe even 30s, don't really get deep into it. And I think that's a bit of a shame because there's a lot of interesting stuff to talk about that you're just never going to hear from your pastor on Sunday morning. And that's okay. I mean, there's a time and place for, getting real esoteric with everything. And Sunday morning worship service might not be it. But that could be, this could be the time and place. I'll tell you a little bit more about myself. Again, I'm Zach. I have been riding motorcycles for about 3 years now. Started on a Kawasaki Z125. As you can imagine, that got really boring really fast because I am not a wheelie monster or anything like that. I upgraded to a Ninja 400 my second year of riding. And now I have been riding the Suzuki GSX8R, or as some like to call it, the Gixxator. It's a really fun bike, nice parallel twin. It's punchy. It's punchy. That's the word I'd use for it. I can get up and go. In the future, I'm probably gonna steer more toward the naked bikes. Just got that cheaper insurance, man. My insurance is ridiculous. All right, so I think one of the first concepts that I want to get into is the idea of personal truth and how damaging that can be to our spiritual lives. Because you'll hear it everywhere. You'll hear it in movies. You're going to hear it from your friends, your coworkers, everyone. Well, that's my truth. And I'll tell you why that doesn't make sense. So I am riding a 800cc parallel twin motorcycle, right? Well, my truth is that I'm riding a 1400cc inline 4 motorcycle, and you're just going to have to accept that. So that doesn't make any sense, does it? No, because at the end of the day, the truth is that I am riding an 800cc parallel twin. So when you hear stuff like that, well, that's my truth, and you're just going to have to accept it. You kind of have to take whatever they just said with a grain of salt. I think what they're kind of misascribing to truth is perception. So something definitely could be their perception, but it doesn't necessarily mean it's the truth. It's kind of like in court, you have an eyewitness testimony, right? It is widely known as, a very unreliable source of information. Like, if you only have eyewitness testimony and they're asking you to convict someone, you probably shouldn't, because everyone has their own perception, because there is only the truth. So an eyewitness might tell you, well, it was a guy in a green hoodie, um, wearing also blue pants, blue jeans. And then it turns out that the truth was that it was a guy wearing a blue hoodie with black pants. Now, to the witness, that is their perception. That's what they remember, but it's not the truth. If I got up on the witness stand and I said, "Well, he was wearing a green hoodie and blue jeans," that's my truth. You're not going to accept that. So, when someone gets on, especially spiritual topics, and they're talking about, this one's always ridiculous. God's a woman. That's my truth. Well, the truth is that God says, "I am He." Um, a lot of these same people talk about gender ideology, yet they misgender God all the time. What happened to respecting pronouns? And, this can apply to many different things in your life, not even necessarily just the spiritual. You know, if you've ever been in a leadership role in your work or something to that effect, and you have employees, maybe there's a disciplinary problem. They're saying, oh, I was definitely here on time. I'm supposed to be here at 9:30. That's when I was here. That's my truth. Well, then you look at their time card, you look at the camera. Well, they got here at 9:35. That's the truth. And you will absolutely have people that try to do things like that. And sometimes they get away with it, but if you're really discerning and you actually kind of look at, you keep that in mind, like, personal truth isn't real. I think it could save you a lot of struggle, a lot of issues in many areas of your life, professional, personal, everything. If someone says that's my truth, honestly, you can probably say 9 times out of 10 you're lying. So this has been a very pleasant ride. I am going through the back roads here of southern Dayton, Ohio. Had a trike pass me. I threw out the 3 wheels down instead of the 2. Got someone pulling out in front of me. It happens. He didn't see me. No sense in punching mirrors off about it. To be honest, I don't exactly know where I am. I just know I am south of Dayton, Ohio. Um, I think I am in a little town called Waynesville, which I didn't know this road went to. It's a nice little town, though. We can ride through the little downtown part. You can take a look at it. I think it's pretty. But in addition to spiritual stuff on this channel, I also kind of want to talk about history. I want to talk about a lot of stuff, but I think the main thing that probably needs to be brought up is the spiritual aspect, because again, I really just don't see any moto vloggers, motorcycle YouTubers really getting into it, and I think that it's kind of a disservice, especially with how dangerous our activity is. As much as I hate to say it, we definitely lose people quite often, and I would like to assist with those people knowing where they're going when they wreck their Gixxer 600. All right, so this is downtown Waynesville. Really nice little town. Uh, Obviously not going to be ripping it up through here, but just kind of wanted to show it off because I've always liked this little town. I actually stayed in an Airbnb here with my wife right after we got married, And it was nice to be able to walk around all the little shops. Beautiful. I guess I'm going to talk a little bit more about the Gixxator here. So, when I got this bike, I was not in the market for a new bike. I was still riding my 400, still having fun, but I had actually gotten a key, like a house key, in my back tire of my 400. So I go to the dealership, and I bought the tire and everything. I actually rode with my tire plugged for quite a while, and it was really funny. I get to the dealership and I go to the service department. Hey, I just need you to put this tire on. So they're working on my bike. I'm hanging out there. I did take a brief look around. I didn't really see anything that interested me. And of course, salesman comes up to me. Hey man, how's it going? I'm doing all right, man. I'm just here for service. Okay, cool. What you got getting worked on? I've got my 400. It's a Ninja 400. I had a key in my tire, so I'm just getting that tire replaced. Okay, 400. You looking to upgrade? Man, I would love to upgrade, but I'm just not really in the market right now. I don't have a down payment. I don't have the money to do that. I'm moving in like a month, and also I don't see really any bikes that I would want. And he's like, okay, well, what kind of bike are you looking for? All right, well, all my buddies, they all ride 600s, 1000s, and on the 400, I definitely can't can't keep up. Uh, my friends were definitely into some street squid nonsense. And he said, well, have you seen the new Suzuki GSX8R? No, I haven't. And he walks me over to this bike, and I don't know how, when I did my little look around, how I didn't see it, and I was like, dang, that thing looks sick. What do we got going on here? And he said it's an 800cc. It'll absolutely let you keep up with your friends on the 600s and thousands. And I was like, oh, is it an inline four? He said, no, it's not an inline four. And I was like, are you sure it's going to keep up then? He's like, if you're going through, twisty roads and you're going, through the city and all that, yes, absolutely, you are going to keep up with your friends on 600s and thousands way better than on your 400. Now, where you'll still probably fall short a little bit is if, your friends are breaking some laws, doing some 160, 170 mile an hour pulls on the highway. And I was like, well, I cannot confirm or deny that that's what's happening. But I do like the idea of being able to keep up, on the twisty roads and all that. And he was like, great, you want to look at some numbers? You want to take it for a test ride? I'm like, man, I don't have a down payment. I don't have the money for that. I tell you what, I'll take it on a test ride. And if you can find me a deal, 0 down, less than 300 a month, I'll take it. And he's like, all right, 0 down, less than 300 a month. All right, cool. So in my mind, I'm like, I just gave this man an impossible task. There's absolutely no way that he's going to come back and get me that deal. And I was actually right. He was like, oh man, we can't do it. The banks all want a down payment, and we got you less than 300, but they do want that down payment for sure. And I was like, yeah, man, I just don't have money down right now. So my bike gets done getting worked on, and I go home, and a couple of days later, I get a call from the dealership. When I see the call, I'm thinking, oh, it's gonna be like, hey, you forgot something, like with your, since we changed your tire, like I don't know, we forgot a nut or a bolt or something, Um, so I answer, and it's like, hey man, you still interested in that 800? I mean, yeah, man, but I still don't have the down payment. And he's like, don't worry about it. We got another bank. It took them a couple of days, but they reached out and they said they'll do it. And I was like, and the payment's less than 300. Yes. Oh, okay. Well, shoot, I'll be there in about an hour. Oh, that was nice of them letting me go. Be there in about an hour. So I get there, and what do you know? They've got the deal. They got the numbers right there, and signed, got the bike, and I have really been enjoying it. That was last year. I put how many miles on it? 20, about 2,700 miles on it. Um, and the bike has been great. Like I really do, feel like I have that acceleration, that good control in terms of twisty roads and all that. Definitely a lot more power than the 400. But I will say this bike definitely does get up and move. In fact, I think I'm in a position where I can do a pretty good little pull. I'm gonna slow down here a little bit. All right. Again, I do want to stress that I have no idea what the audio sounds like. So, if the audio is garbology in this video, I'm probably going to get a mic off of Best Buy or Amazon or something. Just crisp up that audio a little bit. Another weird thing I have noticed about this bike is shifting out of first into second always feels a little odd. It's not until you get to third where the shifting feels super smooth. It's kind of jumpy. It's kind of jumpy when you're going from first to second. Sometimes the whole bike will just like, and that could be rider's skill. That could be a me problem. However, I never felt that on my 400. Gonna be going into town here in a sec. Gonna fill up. Getting low. Getting real low. So I think another thing that we're going to talk about on the channel is, world events and how that relates to Christianity. And you know what? I also do want to stress. Okay, that was actually my fault. What just happened there? But I do want to stress that you don't have to be a Christian to watch this channel. This channel really is for everyone. We are going to talk about bikes, and if you're not a Christian, that's all right. I'm not going to feel any type of way about it if you get into my comments and you're like, well, I don't believe anything that you're saying. All right, bro, that's fine. I do hope that at the very least you will see where we're coming from. But I'm never going to say like, oh yeah, you gotta be devout. You gotta be the guy. You gotta be a deacon of your church to watch this channel. Absolutely not. You can be an atheist, you can be a Hindu, you can be whatever you want. At the bare minimum, I would just love it if you enjoy watching these videos and kind of understanding, what we're all about as Christians. I've seen a lot of Christians be very unwelcoming. And I'm like, man, that does not help us one bit. Not one bit. Who are you getting to follow Jesus? Or at least be okay with us, by being that way? No one. Not a single person. Man, this bike was thirsty. It's probably good I stopped and decided to fill that. Oop. Got a little bit of overflow there. That's all right. Nothing crazy. Oh, $9, not bad. But yeah, what I was saying is if you're not a devout Christian, if you're, just having questions or anything like that, that is perfectly fine. Um, Obviously, as a Christian, my goal is to bring more people to Christ. However, I am never going to force anyone or, just really drag it in someone's face. Because I don't believe that gets people to to be on my side. Let's see what this bus driver wants to do. Try to get out their way. This kid seems sweet. What's with the kids with the mullets, man? I'm not sure what that's all about. This bike is an absolute monster on the street. I will say that. There is no feeling of limitation when you are riding in this manner, riding in the slow speeds or riding in the street. I'm going to get on the highway here in a second, just so you can kind of see the highway performance. All right, so again with the audio, I have no idea if you can hear me when I'm going this fast, but the Gixxator does not have any issue getting up to highway speeds. We're doing about 70 miles an hour right now. There may or may not be a state troop in front of me, so I'm not sure how much I want to push it. But you also have plenty, way more than enough passing power on this bike. This bike is going to put 95% of cars to shame. They're just not going to be able to hang with you. If you do have your eye on this bike, I would definitely recommend it. It's a good bike. I think you'll get many, many miles of enjoyment with it. And you're not ever going to feel like you don't have enough power. The only time that you would ever feel like you don't have enough power is if you're on the highway and like an R1 pulls up and wants to roll race you. The R1's going to absolutely destroy you. But it's an R1, so why wouldn't it? Whew, that was a little dangerous, sir. I was not a big fan of that. A little Civic Sport thinks he's got something. But yeah, pretty much you can roll in fourth gear on the highway. But I do prefer myself to roll in fifth, just for the fact of gas mileage. The gas mileage on this thing is good. It's not the best, but I would like to not have to fill up after every single ride. I definitely want to have a conversation in the comments about, bikes, stuff that I've talked about today, all kinds of stuff. So blow my comment section up. I want to hear from you. I want your opinions on, you know, anything really, like anything having to do with this video. How's the camera angle? How's the audio? What do you think of the Gixxator? What do you ride? I'd love to know what you ride. All right, y'all. Well, that brings us to the end of our ride today. Just want to say thank you for tuning in. Thanks for watching. I really hope that you'll come back for the next video. The next video, we're going to go a little bit more in depth on the spiritual and talk a little bit more about that. But please like this video, comment anything that you'd like to comment about, and subscribe to the channel. Y'all have a great day. This has been the Holy Ghost Rider.